The Federal Reserve announcing they're keeping interest rates the same, just above 4%.
And the Federal Reserve Chair says those rates might come down later this year. Our Washington correspondent Rachel Knapp joins us live from D.C. tonight. Rachel, there's been a lot of concerns with the markets and uncertainty with businesses and consumers. What are they expecting for our economic future?
Well, good evening, Renata and Nick. So the Federal Reserve says there are some positive data areas in places like the labor market and that we still have a relatively low unemployment rate. But they say uncertainty about the economic outlook has increased. Now, the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says inflation has eased a bit, but is still elevated. They're also warning that their key measure of inflation would now be closer to 3% than 2%. Today's meeting with the Reserve was significant following recent changes from President Trump and his administration's actions on possible trade wars, mass firings in government, and deportations. All those could potentially have an impact on the market and economy. Now, the president has insisted that tariffs will be good for Americans and the economy, but Powell adds consumers and businesses are mentioning tariffs as a driving factor for the inflation measures moving up. Powell was asked how much of the higher inflation rate this year will be due to President Trump's tariffs. He responded saying it's going to be very difficult to have a precise assessment of how much inflation is coming from tariffs and other areas.
Some of it. The answer is clearly some of it. A good part of it is coming from tariffs, but we'll be working, and so will other forecasters, to try to find the best possible way to separate non-tariff inflation from tariff inflation.
Nick and Renata, another interesting part in today's press conference was that Powell was also asked about the big R word. That's recession. Now, Powell says there's usually a 1 in 4 chance of a recession and that some private sector estimates of a recession risks have moved up, but they still aren't too high. Renata and Nick, back to you.